In the dark depths of the forest, amidst the overgrowth of dubious paths, stood an abandoned house. The structure was covered with the cobwebs of time, every crack and rot-eaten brick seemingly exuding silent despair. Within these walls were concentrated countless forget-me-nots of the past, their spirits still wandering under the oppressive shadow of the rooms and locked windows. Yet in this forgotten solitude lived a solitary man, whose arrival filled this place with mystery and the promise of the unknown. Alexander Mackenzie, the most renowned writer, had for ages fed his books with terrifying tales that took their roots from his own nightmares. Fans valued him for his ability to stir minds and plunge them into darkness. The success that came with his craft left him in solitude and eternal melancholy. One day, Alexander received a letter from a mysterious fan inviting him to spend a few days in the abandoned house and test his ability to create an atmosphere of horror. Despite his initial reluctance to socialize, the writer sensed something unique in this invitation, something that shook his bored heart. Alexander arrived at the designated place at an ominous time of day. The majestic facade of the building caught his gaze, as if calling him to a dangerous dance with the unknown. While the walls were considerably cracked and peeling, the roofs still stood in their places, like guardians of the past. Inside were numerous rooms, each holding scant remnants of their former glory. Alexander set to work. He began to examine every corner of the abandoned house, delving into its hidden secrets. But as he roamed these dark corridors, there was always the sense that someone else was present. One day, in a stinking pantry, the writer found a notebook with entries from a previous occupant. As if through time, he heard the fear-frozen sounds of these pages. There, on each leaflet, in words that managed to blur on the paper even after the death of their author, was laid out the true evil that plunged the abandoned house into a bloody atmosphere. With each passing day, Alexander Mackenzie delved deeper into the grim essence of this place. He lost sight of the boundary between reality and his decaying fantasy. Writing his next novel, he left bloody episodes on his hands and the canvas of his world. These were not just fantasies of the old building, but the spirit of precision and final decision. In the calm of one evening, when the rein of his heart went rustling, Alexander found a mysterious passage leading deeper into the basement of the abandoned house. Lit only by the faded light of his flashlight, he descended into the abyss to get closer to the source of this diabolical place. But something within him awakened. Mentally ill, the writer was approaching the shocking truth that he himself had become part of this cursed building. Within his soul, a monster was being born, committing the most horrific acts to continue its sacrifice. The shadow of silence enveloped the house, and its walls began to speak. The shadows of previous inhabitants awoke. Alexander no longer needed a pen. He became the brush of the very abandoned house, trapped in the evil fantasies of his own psyche. And now, this house, consumed by fear and human sacrifices, awaits the next guest who dares risk their consciousness to feed its inexplicable thirst.